Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Pop of Color Live, a music industry late night show for colorful bands and artists. I'm your host, Clara Charron, and I am joined tonight by the lovely Queen Louise, whose birthday was this past weekend. You can see we're having a little birthday party. Okay, thank you very much for coming, Louise. So that's why we're doing a presentation this week on the theme of why record deals are like kittens. Here, let me get you out of your costume. You were very good. And I'm going to use this for the thumbnail because you are an adorable girl. Right. So the news was slow this week, therefore I'm doing a double feature, but the first one will be why record deals are like kittens, as by the latest blog post on my blog. Louise, here you go. First of all, we want to ask ourselves, is a kitten the right choice for us? You can be an animal lover and be very good with animals, but adopting a kitten is a serious commitment that might not be the right choice for you, either now, at this point in your life, or ever. The same holds true for a record deal. You might be a very good musician. You might have marketing skills. This might be a very good fit for you. You might not be ready yet, or it just might not be a fit for your style of music or your career goals. If you decide that adopting a kitten or signing a record deal is right for you, you next want to seek out a reputable shelter/company. Louise, don't gnaw at your fairy wings, because we will use these for later photo shoots. It's just like a reputable animal shelter knows a little bit about where the animal came from, and their medical history, maybe a little bit about their breed, and their health. A reputable company or a record label you'll be able to look them up, you will be able to do your research, and you will be able to trust in them more than buying a cat off Craigslist, Kijiji, or finding one in an alley versus some guy at a bar trying to get you to sign a contract there in the moment. Next up, choosing the right kitten. You want to observe them in their natural habitat. You want to see how they get along with other cats, as if that's going to be something you will experience when bringing them home. You need to decide if one of the hard things, if you like the look of them or you like their true personality. You want to get an idea of how they're going to grow up and what they're going to look like when they grow up. Just like the age of the cat will determine how long you have them. So you can adopt a tiny little kitten, but you'll have them for 20 years and you don't know what their finished personality may be like. Adopting an older cat, you have a clearer set of what their personality is like. However, you have shorter time with them. The same holds true for contracts. Making it official. Just like Louise, watch it with the curtains. Just like signing a record deal, there is also an adoption contract. Make sure you follow that contract. Make sure you read all the clauses, read all the rules, and follow them carefully. When it comes to exclusivity, just like a record deal may have an exclusivity clause, a cat might not like having other cat siblings or living with dogs or living with other animals or young children. That might be something you want to figure out first and sooner rather than later. Last but not least, vet checks. Just like you want to routinely take your kitten to the vet to make sure they're growing healthy and everything's all right underneath the hood, same old's true with auditing your contract with the record deal. Look over the books, have a third party take a look. Hey, Spencer! So that was our little featurette to replace the news this week, because once again, it was a rather slow news week in the world of updates that could significantly impact us, so independent artists, the people of the independent music world. Well, a couple things happened at the top with like big CEOs, but nothing that is majorly going to affect us so far that has been reported. I mean, I check my news at Hypebot, Digital Music News, several other places, and look at reports, but I thought this little featurette in time for Louise's birthday would be a cute little way to start us off. This was a cupcake from her birthday party. Yes, I had a birthday party for my cat. You can also send her a birthday message at the email in the description of this video, or go to the digital tip jar of paypal.me/popofcolournmusic and donate to her treat fund if you want to send her some treats in the mail. Hey, Amir! So now to the main feature. Hi, Bailey! I want to talk a little bit about this research I've done lately about the current state of traditional music journalism. So here I am. I'm not talking about YouTubers who are reviewing albums or people sounding off on podcasts or on blogs, but the traditional music critic. So this is an industry that, with the dawn of social media and the digital age, has gone through a lot of changes, just like us. So these are the music critics. So these are the ones of the Rolling Stones, the physical papers, the physical magazines, who people would subscribe to, and they would rate the latest pop album on a star rating basis. So I've been noticing that over a little while, but since the turn of the decade, more and more of these high-profile professional critics from respectable big print publications and long-standing publications, so not independent blogs, not YouTube channels, the reviews they're giving for pop albums are overwhelmingly positive. Which, okay, that's fascinating, Clara. You look at other genres, so say movies. Say you're with a group of friends and you want to go see a movie together on a Friday or Saturday night that you're all hanging out together. You quickly go around and think, okay, well, what are the critics have been saying about this movie? So it's almost common knowledge that this movie has Oscar buzz, or this superhero blockbuster was rated a flop. You don't have to search very hard in the last year or so to find a movie that was just a complete critical pan. Say the Emoji Movie. There's an example of complete critical panning. Well deserved, by the way. However, with music, very, very few big mainstream albums these days receive an overwhelming pan by the critics. I'm not making this up. This is not just anecdotal evidence. I went on Metacritic.com, which is an aggregator for reviews of movies, TV, video games, and music. So what they do is they take a mainstream release in any of these formats, and all the big critics from big respectable publications who write a review of it, they take the score and they average it out so that you can get a balanced review. So say if you're only getting your music reviews from Rolling Stone, but someone at a different music publication is rating them differently, they would average those two scores. Now picture this over hundreds, picture this over many formats, many albums, over many, many years, and I started noticing trends. So take movies. On Metacritic, oh, sorry, hang on. So then when they take the rating system, they have the percentage of like the average score or that movies get, or video games, music, TV shows, and then they color code them. So if a piece of media content is rated green, generally everyone liked it. If it's yellow, it had mixed reviews. If it was rated red, the overall panning, the overall critical consensus is it's panned, you should probably skip this one. So looking through the movies, on average, about 10% of all movies every year are given a red score. So say over 5 years, if they reviewed 7,000 movies, 700 would have a red score. But music, on the other hand, so between the 5 years of 2012 to 2017, out of the 7,000 movies, 7,000 albums they reviewed, only 8 had a red score. So movies, 700 bad movies. Music, 8. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Something's up here. And in 2017, no albums got a red overall panning. what's up with that? Are critics getting softer and realizing that music is all subjective? Or is there something else going on underneath the hood? In the updates and the trends in the industry and in the music business that is swaying these scores to be positive, lean more into a PR spin, and try to take the good from bad albums. Well, I did some research. So there are two main reasons. Oh, Louise, let me get you. There are two main reasons that music albums are getting better scores on average in the last couple of years. The first is the advent of streaming services, and the second is the advent of social media. So I'll start with streaming services. In the olden days of music critics, if you wanted to buy an album, chances are you would go buy the lead-off single, you'd hear the lead single on the radio to get you hyped up, and then you'd line up at your HMV at your record store on release day, and then you would buy the bundled disc. You couldn't hear it beforehand, and you'd listen to it. So if you were someone who didn't want to take a blind risk, you would listen to what the critics had to say. If the critics got the album a couple days before, which they usually did, they would release the review in the paper or in the magazine. Hi, Mohammed. The week or even the day of that album's release, to let you know whether they liked it or not. Now, the same is true with, say, restaurant food reviews, food critics. Like, same idea. You have to take a risk when it comes to going out to the restaurant. Say you have to spend money getting ready if you want to buy a dress, if you want to do your makeup and hair, even just spending time to get ready, hiring a babysitter, driving the gas to drive downtown, paying for street parking, all before you even taste an appetizer. That is a risk. Now, the advent of streaming services in music has meant that it's not as much a risk anymore to try out a new album. If the new Drake album gets released, you don't have to listen to what the critic has to say, because it's not taking a risk to just hit play on your free Spotify account or stream it on YouTube or on Apple Music, which you pay $9.99 for a month anyway. So that's one of the reasons why critics don't matter as much, is people just make their own decisions, and if they don't like something, they aren't committed. They're not like, well, I spent $13.99 on this album, I have to listen to the whole thing, even though the first couple songs stink. They really get the chance to listen through. They can listen through the whole album is generous at this point. So listen to the first song, the first few songs, hit skip until you find something in the whose first 10 seconds you like a lot, and bam, there you have it. You've made your decision whether you like the album or not. The second change to the world of music critics is the advent of social media platforms. Now, in the world of since social media became a thing in the last decade or so, all the big media outlets went online, as well as the writers. They need to engage in the conversation. What would the Huffington Post do if they didn't have a Facebook page, a Twitter account? You know what I mean. So, as opposed to, say, movies, where sure there are people who are very fond of certain directors or certain actors or actresses, they might not be as crazy rabid fans as the fans of music, because when it comes to actors, they know that they are playing a role, versus the idea of a singer-songwriter or musicians, and especially the ones who write their own material, is coming from the heart. So some people, a lot of people take it to the extreme where they view a bad review of the latest album of their favorite artist as a personal attack on them. Want to see how that works? Try saying Beyonce is overrated on Twitter and let us know if you survive. So, because they're all online, you get the instant replies. Now, back in the olden days of having a print magazine sent, say, twice a month, once a week, once a month, once a season, and you disagreed with a review that said something that you didn't like about your favorite band or artist, you would write a letter to the editor in which you politely disagreed. It was a much more civilized time back then. Nowadays, you disagree, out goes the keyboard, and you write an angry tweet before you have time to think it through whether it's worth it. You tag the paper, you might even tag the direct author, and things can get nasty and trolling and go downhill very, very fast. As a result of this, lots of papers, lots of media outlets see the writers who are constantly getting in hate on Twitter, whose articles are getting them tagged in hateful tweets on Twitter, as a liability, especially nowadays that there's not as much money in music journalism to go around, which I will get to in my next point. Lots of these journalists are paid on a freelance basis, which while they might not have a straight salary tied to writing only for, say, Rolling Stone or only for this blog, this main media outlet, this big blog, they can write as many places as they want but you're only as good as your last gig. So if you become known among editors of big publications as the writer who's always getting hate in their direction by angry hordes of Beyonce fans, they're probably not going to hire you next month, and then you lose your pay. So that's another amount of pressure on writers to say nice things. So what are big print publications to do? Well, continue making money, of course. So let's take a look. Okay, how does print media make revenue? Simple. They sell ads in between the articles. Well, it's a very simple calculation. Well, I'm simplifying it, but like, if this many people, on average, bought the article last year, and this many people have a subscription, and we should charge this much for advertisements. And then you pay more for like a big advertisement, you pay less for a little one. This is the idea. But because less people are reading in magazines cover to cover anymore, they're all checking individual articles online, which means you need the first shot to get the ads there. So where eyeballs go, ways of making money must follow. This means that a lot of things rest on banner ads when it comes to individual articles. When you go to a big media outlet's website, you are very rarely clicking on a whole month's worth of articles anymore. You're clicking on the one that got linked to you via Facebook, via Twitter, the one that's going viral, the one that was linked on Reddit. And that's pretty much it to what you're looking at. So they've got that one chance to make that impression with that banner ad. And one way they can make sure that you have a better chance of seeing that ad, of going onto their page, is being the first to report breaking news. Now, breaking news, whether it be exclusive content, whether it be never before seen stuff, whether it be big upcoming teasers, announcements, breaking news, anything that is big, they want to be the first to report that. No one gets all the clicks if they come in second place or third place. Being first is important in the world of journalism, especially for these big print media outlets, because if they get fans in droves, if they get people out of curiosity in droves going on these articles to read it, and they're the first ones to report it, they'll get the banner ad money. They can keep their writers paid, they can keep their editors paid, they can keep their staff paid. And how do you get access to being the first to know about news of a latest big pop artist? You give their album a positive review. That is my episode for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to Pop of Color Live, a music industry late night show for bands and artists who want to learn about the music industry in bright and colorful ways. In the description of this video, I have a link to my blog where you can read articles in writing, including the two that I based this video off of. Please sign up for my newsletter, which is on the under the free ebook link, because I'm sending one out on June 1st, and I'm going to ask you guys to send in your artist bios, because I'm going to because for my next episode, I want to do live bio critiques on this show where I'm going to point out things that artists are doing right and things that artists can improve on without roasting you. Really sweet, really nice. Once again, happy birthday to my kitty, Louise. This is the cupcake. She's right there looking at me with those big eyes because I've got a treat box over here. So thank you very, very, very much for tuning in. You can send her a birthday message at my email, which is also in the description, or buy your treat via my PayPal link. I got my social media account. So thank you so, so much. I will see you next Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a colorful week. Be excellent to each other. Say goodbye, Louise.